Welcome. This is the series I'm hosting on women physicians who are resilient. And I have with me today a wonderful Dr. Susan Douglas, who is a neurologist, and she also has a law degree, and she is writing a book, and she is doing this from her wheelchair. Welcome, Susan Douglas.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
When we met on LinkedIn, I believe. I just was fascinated by all your accomplishments and come to find out that you had an accident in medical school. So you are by all definitions resilient. And so we want to hear a little bit about your story.
I was at Georgetown and I lived with my uncle who was in a suburb of Washington, D.C., which turned out really well because medical school is expensive and he didn't charge me any rent. So I was heading out after, a long day, and I was so homesick. I just was thinking about Thanksgiving, and I was one of the first Thanksgivings I wasn't going to be going home. So I was thinking about my family. And it started to kind of rain, just mist, just enough to make the road slick. I grew up in Iowa, so I didn't think that was anything I couldn't handle. And there was a rail that was coming up, and my car was heading to the right, kind of towards that. I kind of thought I would just slide up against that and it would stop me. And my parents would be livid that I wrecked the car. But the next thing I know, this is just a very disoriented feeling. I can remember everything leading up to that disorienting feeling. And looking up and seeing something black above me. And so I tried to crawl up this this hill that was in front of me, and it was just too painful. I'd broken a lot of ribs when I fell, and then I realized that my legs weren't working; they were paralyzed. And I looked up to the top of the hill where the road was, and I could see car lights going by. This is the only road that goes out to this area. So around rush hour, it starts getting busy. So I was looking at these lights, and it was just peculiar to me why people weren't stopping. So I was out there all night until the next morning. A truck driver was high enough that he could look down, and he didn't see me, but he saw my car, and it was up in a tree. And that was what the black thing was. I was looking at the underside of my car, and I don't know how my car didn't drop on me. But it didn't. And so this was before cell phones. So he went in and told the fire department that there was a car in the tree and they might want to check that out. And so they got out there and they saw my car, and it took them a little longer to find me. But when they found me, I was very, very cold, and they couldn't get any vitals on me, and they thought I was dead. So they were just getting ready to sit me up and take care of the scene. And then the paramedic came to visit me in the hospital. And I don't remember any of this, but he told me that I opened my eyes just wide and said to him, just clear as day, like just matter of fact, are you here to help me? And he said it was like a ghost coming back to life. Wow. And then they got moving and got me to the nearest trauma center quickly. And I needed surgery right away. It turned out that I needed a special kind of surgery for my back. And the surgeon was at Georgetown, where I was going to medical school. The nights were long in the hospital, and that's when I would, be reflecting on, what my future was going to be. And so
did you
I was
see
there
yourself going back to medical school at that point?
I never thought about not going back to medical school. It wasn't my plan to be doing it paralyzed. I was very strong in my upper body, and I was recovering very quickly because I was so young and healthy. About a couple months into it, it was like, okay, what are we going to do now? And it was felt that I needed to go to rehab. My father found a small rehab place that was close to our home. And so, I just hated this place. It was just this rinky-dink rehab center. They weren't, they were okay and like doing some things, but I really needed a specialized spinal cord rehab center. We just didn't know about them at the time, and they're called model centers, and there's only a few of them in the country. But so I bolted out of this small place in about a month, and I got away with that because I was strong and I had my arms, and I was just determined, young and determined. Nothing was going to stop me. So I didn't know that my parents had these conversations with Georgetown and arranged some on campus housing where the undergraduate school was. And I had another medical student as a roommate. And my first class was neurobiology. I couldn't believe it. And they had the nerve to say nerves didn't grow. Oh, I was so mad. But anyway, and of course, it wasn't common knowledge, but I had looked into my condition enough to learn that nerves were growing, and, thinking about the hope of walking again, Georgetown didn't expect me to come back. And I was coming back, and, in a way, the little, someone telling me I couldn't do it was like almost a gift, because I was angry. I wasn't thinking of it that way, but there were some people were very nice, trying to smooth out everything and make it work. Others were annoyed that I came back and weren't subtle about it at all. I was really literally concerned that I'd ruined it for anyone that might want to come and matriculate there in a wheelchair again. But the year that I graduated, they actually accepted somebody that was already in a wheelchair. So that made me feel really good. And we taught each other a lot.
So neurology was the obvious choice for you then.
What made it the choice was it turned out to be my first clinical rotation. I don't know if the school did that on purpose or if it just turned out that way. And the chairman of neurology just took me under his wing. And I was good at it because I was already curious about my own condition. And so I connected with the patients immediately. I think I go back and forth on whether it's a good idea to do. I think a lot of doctors do it. They go into fields that are related to something that they've been through or one of their family members have been through.
I think we all do that. I mean, I think, my own path through coaching was based on my own burnout and my own experiences. Yeah, we all bring that experience to what we have to offer. So, so now you're a neurologist, and were you in a private practice or did you join a group? What happened then?
So, no, I went to UCLA and I joined the faculty there. So I stayed on in academia and got more into research. I was looking at neuroprotective agents on the spinal cord of all things. And they were fabulous too. I mean, they were just, and continue to be, they're just amazing. You know, I had this bright candy red wheelchair. I think I was a little angry. So yeah, I'm like whipping around that hospital. I think it just gave the chairman a tickle to see me flying around the corners.
Now you're still with UCLA now.
I am, yeah.
Okay.
I am, believe it or not, 3 years ago, I rolled over in bed and all of a sudden had this horrible lightning shot go down my right arm. Both my arms were on fire, and I had developed a syrinx in my neck that was putting pressure on some blood vessel, and I had a spinal bleed that caused a second cervical spinal cord injury. So I'm still reeling from that. So I'm pretty much on medical leave, doing a little bit, but not much. But I'm still with them, and hope to get a lot stronger than I am now. But it's a whole nother game to have it happen when you're older than when you're younger.
And being a neurologist and knowing that you had the syrinx there, did you know what happened when that happened to you?
No, I didn't know what happened. And when I went to pull the covers back up on me, I couldn't use my hand. And that's when I realized that I had no choice. I had to get up and I had to go. And that something neurologic had happened. And I knew that it was in my cervical spine, and I knew that much, but I was really disappointed to find out it was a bleed, because it's hard to get your function back when it's actually a bleed.
Mm-hmm.
So,
at what point in this 30-year career of yours did you get a law degree?
Yeah, that was one of my crazy moments. I was so mad. I guess I was. It was a time when I was spending so much time on the phone justifying everything that I needed for my patients, and I was just tired of it, and maybe looking for a reason to get in an argument with someone again. I'm also interested in policy. So I was getting a back surgery that was going to need a very prolonged course of healing, where I would be in the bed on my back, couldn't move. This school was starting kind of a pilot on doing the online school, and they were doing law school. So I did that, and
why not?
I didn't really practice that. Yeah. Well, and it was to learn insurance law. The idea was I'm going to learn insurance law, and every time I get on the phone, I'm going to really, do a number on these people. I really did get into policy, and it helped a lot for that. I wrote policy, and there's anything close to like finding your purpose, that's probably mine, much more than like neurology.
Well, so now you're writing a book about your life. Is it a memoir? What is it going to be?
No, I really I'm kind of figuring out what's next, and in doing that, a friend of mine introduced me to this course that's online, where you kind of learn how to monetize your medical degree in ways more that are geared towards your purpose. And normally you go to a conference, and over this weekend conference, they have you write a book, and literally in a 24-hour period, they want you to sit down and write a book. So I decided to do like a small version of my story with a how-to of, okay, this is what just happened to you, and here's what you need to do at this stage. So it's more of a how-to.
I would envision that would be so useful for the families, the patients. Yeah.
And I've looked at like, you know, in the support groups, you'll see new people come on and they'll say, I'm just 3 months in, and I'm don't know what I'm doing, and I'm like, oh gosh, I wish my book was out, because they could use my book. It would, because that's what it's about, is what you do from the minute you're in the. I think most people would pick it up probably in rehab, but you're asking yourself all sorts of questions right from there. So
well, and the families are probably devastated too and could use that.
Yeah.
So are you giving yourself a deadline to get that done?
I'm done. I turned my manuscript in on time.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
a good girl.
Well, so what's next for you?
You know what? I think it's going to be this. It's going to be speaking about my experience, and I really want to get back into policy. And I did a fellowship on Capitol Hill where Medicare and Medicaid had we called it a bias, where they would pay for personal care services, but only if you were in a nursing home or some kind of institutionalized setting. And I wrote some law that allowed for that care to be given in the home setting, which is where everyone wants to be. So,
of course.
And that's just continued. That was about 10 years ago, and that's continued to be expanded. There's a lot of things that need to be improved within medicine and the insurance law and disability healthcare law. And I would really like to get back into that. So the question is that, I don't know if I've got it in me to pull myself up one more time. And so I'm trying to figure that out. And I haven't figured it out yet. So this is the first time really in my life that I haven't had a game plan.
From what I've heard, you have all the wherewithal within you to do whatever it is you want. And maybe we'll be hearing you be Susan Douglas, Congresswoman.
Oh gosh, no, thank you. I'll be behind the scenes. I'll be behind the scenes.
Just as good, just as good.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing your story of resilience. I mean, you're an amazing woman. I can't believe all the things that you've gone through, but also accomplished.
Oh.
And you still have so many years left to give, and I'm sure you will find your way.
Oh, I hope so. I really do. It's really been lovely talking with you.
You too.
Can't wait to hear more of your resilient stories.
Oh, thank you. If people are interested in your story or getting a hold of you, how can they find you?
Oh, they can find me at Dr. Sue, MD, JD. I'm on most media platforms, and there you'll get directed to what I'm doing, and hopefully we will meet and talk and figure out how we can find our purposes together.
Sounds fabulous. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Stay safe, stay well. Good luck on the recovery and the new chapter in your life.
Yeah. You too. Stay safe.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.